So I know I do a lot of like video analysis and theories and in-depth reviews and everything like that, which is fun and all, but I feel like I haven't done an actually like just lighthearted fun video before, so I figured I would do an Owl House character tier list. One, just like I said, because it's fun, but two, a lot of people ask me like, oh, who's your favorite character? What do you think of this character? So now this will kind of just cover all those bases and you guys can figure out, you know, who I like, who I don't like, blah, 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 blah. Now, before we actually start ranking these guys, I feel a lot of people just kind of have a very black and white kind of way for how they rank characters. It's either like, oh, you're nice, so you're good and I like you, or oh, you're a jerk or mean, so I don't like you, which is not how I rank characters or how they determine how much I like them. I rank characters, and you know, what determines I like them is how they are written, how they have developed over the show, how they play a role in the series and stuff like that. So like, if, you know, there's a character who's a jerk, I might like them because I might find them to be a very intriguing character. Just to preface this, because I feel like I'm going to get some people hating on me in the comments for certain characters that I rank on here, so just know that's how I'm ranking them. I'm not saying that their actions are good, but in terms of how they are as characters and what motivates them and their goals and everything like that, if I find it interesting or well thought out, I'll probably like them more. So yeah, but with that, let's get into it. So first up, and probably oddly enough, this might be one of the few D tiers actually, is the Abomination Professor, and I'll tell you why. Because this man, his class is struggling, they're clearly not getting it except for Amity, and instead of like being a good teacher and helping them, he threatens to give them all more homework, which they also will not succeed at. And like, he intentionally chose Willow, like, who's been failing the class, so he must have known like, oh, she's not gonna do well, so I'm gonna get to give homework to these kids. And then when she does end up doing well, even though Amity has like been a straight A student and the top student, he just gives her badge away after one assignment that Willow succeeded on, you know, that she passed after failing the entire time, and like doesn't question it at all and just gives the badge away. Just no, bad teacher. Don't like that form or method of teaching at all. So yeah, so he's a D because I don't think he's very good at his job. Actually, none of the teachers at Hexside are really good at their jobs, like encouraging kid fights and everything like that, being mean to the delinquent track kids. We do not tolerate any of that here. Adaghast is up next. Adaghast, you know, I'll put Adaghast at a B. I like his design. I think it's really good. In terms of like his plan, like he wants to get rid of Ida. Ida is his competition. So he uses Luce as a way to, you know, get to Ida, run her business, you know, take care of that whole ordeal for him. And his plan actually, you know, ends up doing pretty well for the most part. Until, you know, Ida actually steps in and Luce is not, you know, the usual kind of just, you know, person who's gonna be like, yeah, sure, I'll go ahead and just give my entire life away for this make-believe world that you've created. So his plan wasn't the best, but you know what? In terms of ambition and him just like making a plan and actually trying to do something about his circumstance, you know, like good on you, Adaghast, but you're done now, so it doesn't really matter. All right, Amelia. You know, we don't know that much about Amelia. She's just kind of part of Boscha's friend group, her little posse group. Maybe I should have done more than just this. Maybe I should have added pluses and minuses. I'm going back and forth between B and C because we don't know much about Amelia, but she seems nice, like compared to like the rest. Well, when I say the rest of them, I guess I just mean Boscha and sometimes Skara. But she seemed like genuinely happy, like, and enjoyed playing Willow and Luce in the Grouch Bee match. So like, you know, there's more to her. She's more of like an Amity. She's not like Boscha, who just seems to like being mean just for the sake of being mean. She's more like an Amity, I feel like, where she's actually very like nice and kind deep down, but it's just kind of like due to circumstance, just kind of has to stick with Boscha and hang out with her. So yeah, I'll put Amelia in the B tier, but some of these might change the further I go into this, but we'll see. All right, Amity, S. Easiest S. Love Amity. She was the first it was the first Owl House video I did too, was the Amity Blight, how to write a bully video. S tier, I love what they've done with her in the first, few episodes she was in, like quickly moving that bully arc along, just like so we're not, staying on that for just an obscene amount of time that isn't necessary. We're moving on to other interesting points in her, in her character, like her relationship with Luz. We're gonna get her relationship with her parents, Edric and Emira too, as well, her relationship with them and how that's even changed and grown over a few episodes. So yeah, no, Amity's great. I'm such a sucker for like the jerks with the heart of gold, or just like they act tough but they're like actually just a big softie deep down. I love those kinds of characters. So S tier. If there was something above like an S tier, I would just put Amity in that. But man, I love her so much. She's so sweet. I love her. All right, Demon Hunter guy. I'll put Demon Hunter guy in the B tier as well. He's a demon hunter. The capturing Hooty thing didn't go well, and so you know what? Instead of just like giving up, he's like, animal control. We're gonna take what jobs we can get and deal with, whatever comes our way. And he does it with a smile on his face. It's all about that customer service. So you know what? Good on him for not just throwing in the towel after the whole Hooty, demon hunter thing didn't work out. Oh, Azura. Where do I want to put you? Azura in the C for now. We don't know how important Azura is going to be in the show. Like, a lot of people, including myself, have thought that Azura may be more important than just, a work of fiction. And if that's the case, like, she'll probably go up higher on, the tier list later on in this series. But for now, she's just a work of fiction and just kind of like this connecting point with Luz and Amity. But there are some interesting parallels between, Luz's journey and Azura's journey and stuff like that. So we'll see if those get developed. So for now, we'll put her at a C, but definitely has the potential to move up higher down the road. Barcus. We'll put Barcus at a B. B for Barcus. I like Barcus. I like his design, I think. I think Viney has the best design out of our three troublemakers. Just because, like, I don't know, there's something about just giving, like a dog just a human nose that is just, like, so simple and funny, but also just, like, somehow oddly works, I guess, in terms of this character design, which I really like. But, Barcus is he just wants to learn more forms of magic. Like, why wouldn't you want this good boy to learn more magic? And I think the fact that he's like a potion oracle is like really interesting, and like what he can do with his magic, with like foreseeing the future, and then like, you seeing your death, and then, telling your fortune, and then that ends up like, killing the Greater Basilisk and everything like that. I just think it's a lot of cool potential that he has in terms of his magic. But we're probably not going to see him again, unfortunately, because it seems like Dana Terrace wasn't expecting people to like them as much as they did. So maybe, season 3, or if we get any more seasons after season 2, maybe we'll see Barcus again, because I wouldn't be opposed to that. Bat Queen. I just did a video on the Bat Queen last week. Going between A and B. I feel like we're gonna get a lot of B's. The other thing about doing this after season 1 is that, there's some characters who have only made a few appearances, but we'll go for B for now, because we are not entirely sure what the Bat Queen's role will be in this series. It has a lot of potential. Again, I just did a video on that, so like, she could be far more important than, we think. But yeah, I feel that like her finding her owner, I feel that the whistle's gonna come into play for that favor that could really help Luz and Ida in a pinch. And also if she figures out what Belos is doing with those palismen, I feel like that could come into play too, because she is not gonna be happy with that. But speaking of Belos, oh man, our big bad so far at the end of season 1. We don't know a lot about him is the thing. And he has this weird connection to the Titan. Yeah, there's gonna be a bunch of B's here with this video. Belos is a very secretive character. we don't know a lot about him. He was in the last 2 episodes, but we know so little about what he wants. And like I said, he has this weird connection to the Titan, so maybe he's not even the ultimate big bad guy. Maybe the Titan of the Boiling Isles is the big bad guy. And he is just, doing its will, or, whatever. Or he could just be lying about the whole thing with the connection to the Titan, and he's, just been messing with everybody on the Boiling Isles. But his history is very interesting. He just basically appeared, out of nowhere 50 years ago and just kind of rose to power, so there wasn't even an emperor before, presumably, based on the unauthorized history of the Boiling Isles. Just a very intriguing character. And just, I want to know more about him, and obviously we will as the show goes on, but just so many questions regarding his character. So, he has a lot of potential, it's just that we don't know a ton of stuff as of right now. So, yeah, that's where I'm at with Belos right now, but I'm super excited. Awesome design, by the way, with, the deer horns, with, the bird mask, just great design choice for a villain. All right, and up next we got Boscha. Boscha, I might actually put Boscha in the A tier. I'm not as big of a Boscha fan as I think a lot of other people are, but the reason Boscha is so high, it's just because she seems to just being mean just for the sake of being mean, and I kind of have to respect that in a way. I'm just all right, this is what her character is about. She enjoys just being the top of the school, enjoys her family status, and just kind of, being in that position of power. And so, I kind of have to respect that with Boscha. I also just think that she's just kind of a funny character, which is how much of a jerk she can be. Again, I'm not condoning bullying, obviously, or anything like that. But, sometimes just characters who are just mean for the sake of being mean are just fun, because they just don't, care what other people think of them, and they're just gonna do what they want anyway. I also think it's interesting because, it's kind of Amity and Boscha they parallel each other. They're in very similar situations, if, basically the exact situation of their parents being oh, you guys should be friends together because it would benefit us. And we see Amity taking that course of change and, bettering herself as a person, and then Boscha's just going in, her own direction of just, sticking with it. She's nope, I like this, so I'm just gonna stick with it. Maybe we'll get more on Boscha in the future. I don't think so. It doesn't seem like she's being set up for anything like that. That's kind of where I stand with Boscha. I like her a lot, and also her design's really good, I think. Just, the magenta hair with the 3 eyes, just, really good design. This entire show has, a bunch of phenomenal designs. But yeah, I'll put Boscha in the A tier just because I respect her just being yeah, I mean, good on you, Boscha, for just sticking to your guns. Hopefully you develop more as a person and, get better, but yeah, I appreciate just her jerkiness. Braxus, this is gonna be a weird one. S tier. I love Braxus. I wish there was a specific reason why. I just think Braxus is super cute. I like his really deep voice. He just seems like a little sweetheart, and he's great, and I love him. So S tier. This is a weird list so far. We have Amity and Braxus, Boscha in A, Belos in B with some just characters we don't know, Azura, who's a fictional character, and then the Abominations Professor. So, weird list so far, but we still got more to go. Principal Bump. Honestly, I'll put Bump up here at an A. I actually really like Bump. I think he actually wants to do well for his students. He wants to be a good principal. We've seen that before, in convention when Mattholomule, rolls his head out and he's wow, I failed you as a principal. And, with Luce, he's not no way, we want a human here, and is even willing to, keep it a secret from, the Emperor's Coven and stuff like that. He wants students to do well. He wants to give them chances. He switched Willow from, the Abomination track to the Plant track after seeing how well she did. So it's he cares about his students, but also at the same time he is kind of on this fine line of wanting to make sure the Emperor's Coven's happy, so that way they get funding, which leads to the whole conflict in the first day. But yeah, I think Bump is genuinely a good guy and wants the best for his students, which I appreciate, but sometimes he just doesn't always make the best choices or best decisions for them. But I like him overall. All right, Camila. I'm so torn with this one because we haven't seen her a ton. we saw her in the first episode, and we see her like a little bit at the end in Enchanting Grom Fright. I think she's like a kind, caring mother, but like we don't know a lot about her, so maybe I'll just put her in the B since we haven't seen that much of her outside. Like, I know, I'm like, we haven't seen that much outside of her, and I'm just like, Braxus, S tier. But Camila, she's a caring mother. She cares about Luce. Like, there are people who are just like, Camilla's abusive because she sent Luce to, a camp, and I'm just like, hold on, pump the brakes here, all right? Like, she's not abusive to Luce for sending her to a camp when she's been, in school and causing, like, listen, people learn differently. Students, kids, they have their quirks, they have their, different things that make certain, aspects about school more difficult for them. But I mean, when you bring snakes in and they start attacking people, like, you know what, we need to intervene a little bit there, because those are starting to turn into some harmful behaviors. But the thing is, she cares about Luce. She wants her to have friends. She wants her to be happy. She wants her to, not be so isolated. And she thinks, sending her to a camp will help her kind of, not necessarily get rid of, but just help her control the creativity that Luce has. I mean, I think we've all had our parents sign us up for camps or clubs or sports or activities that, we weren't necessarily thrilled about. But, it's all about, trying new things, trying to meet new people, trying to make friends, that whole social experience and everything like that. But they both love each other. And Luce clearly loves her mom. They both love each other. They just don't always agree or see eye to eye on everything. But yeah, no, I like Camila a lot, and I hope we see her more in season 2 and like check up on her and what's going on in the human world. Like, how are you gonna react to your daughter not being at camp if that gets revealed in season 2? So yeah, I like Camila a lot. I do hope we get to see more of her. All right, Dottie. Dottie, I'll put in the C tier just because we saw her for one episode, and they basically kidnapped, King, who was in the body of Luce. So yeah, that's a knock against you for kidnapping children and then trying to keep cute little demons and animals and creatures in your little demon cafe. But she's also kind of like a cool like monster. Like she goes into like a beast mode kind of a thing, which is kind of cool. But we've only seen her in like one episode, so yeah, I'll put her in a C tier. Ida, S tier. Awesome character. Love Ida. She just does what she wants. She's great. She's funny, and I like seeing her journey of kind of, being a character who's only really needed to care about herself. She had Hooty and King, but once Luce comes into her life, you really start to see that like kind of maternal aspect of Ida really start to kick in, and their relationship grow from just kind of like a student mentor to something more of like a daughter-mother kind of relationship. And I really like seeing that. And I think Luce has just brought out the best in Ida, and she's going to continue doing that, for however long the series goes on. But yeah, at the end of season 1, like, Ida's great. How can you not like Ida? Ida's awesome. Similar to Amity, I wish I could have more to say, but just, they're just great characters, and I love them. And speaking of great characters who I love, Edric and Emira. I'll put them in A tier too, because I love these two. Like, they've only been in, like a couple episodes with Lost in Language, Adventures in the Elements, and very briefly in Enchanting Grom Fright. But I like that we've like seen them grown from kind of being like the jerky older siblings to, more caring. They still like to tease Amity, and I think they are genuinely like nice, and they care about Amity and look out for her. But I think they get a little bit carried away with their shenanigans and their pranks and everything like that. Just they still do love Amity at the end of the day. I feel like it's kind of like the thing, like, if someone else messes with Amity, like, they will break their leg. But like, that's only for them. They can only mess with Amity. Nobody else can mess with Amity. Because like I said, they will break your leg. That's kind of the vibes that I get from them. But I mean, there's still so much we need to learn about Edric and Emira too. Like, what's their relationship with their parents? Like, is it better? Is it the same with, as Amity? And they just like kind of don't care. They're like, hey, our parents suck, but we don't care. We're still gonna, cut class class and do pranks and everything like that. But yeah, there's a lot of interesting things about Edric and Emira too that I'm looking forward to with season 2. But yeah, I like them a lot. They're little goofballs, they're little mischief makers, but they care about their sister at the end of the day, so I love them a lot. Alright, eyeball guy and fanfic girl. You know what? I'm gonna put them in the B tier because you know what? They just want to do their thing. It's not hurting anybody. They just want to do their thing. They just want to eat their own eyeballs, and they grow back. So I mean, it's not like, you know, he's gonna be eyeless for the rest of his life. We'll just come back, and she just wants to write fanfic about food. So you know, just let her do it. It's not hurting anybody. But yeah, no, I think they're just sweet characters. They're just little weirdos who just want to, you know, do what they like. Gildersnake, I don't dislike him. He showed up for like, what, 10 seconds? So I'll just put him in the C tier, I guess, because it's a cool design. But we don't really know anything about him unless he like comes back and Azura is like real. Again, like Gildersnake and Azura, like these two are very dependent on how much Azura plays into the actual story, you know, of the Owl House. So, Grom. Alright, Prometheus the Fearbringer. What are we gonna... He's a monster. Like, I'll just put him at a B because of Grom. We got to see Luce and Amity have that really awesome dance. So, B, I guess. Like, it's very similar to kind of like Gildersnake. Like, we only saw Grom for a little bit, and like, it's a cool idea of like a shapeshifter that changes into your fears. But yeah, but because of Grom, we got to see the Luce and Amity dance. So you know what, you get points for that. So you're a B tier, Grom. All right, Gus. Now I really wish I did like pluses and minuses too. Gus. I'm gonna put Gus in the B tier for now. I would put Gus at like a B plus. Gus, out of like our main cast of characters, which is like, you know, Luce, Ida, King, Willow, Gus, Amity, Lilith, which I think are kind of like our main group. Gus has had the least development out of everybody. And it's not that I don't like Gus. I think Gus is very sweet. I think Gus like just tries to do the best for his friends, and he's kind of like the opposite in Amity in that regards, and how he's like a really great student but doesn't really care about, you know, being the top student, or you know, he's looked down upon by others based on his age, but he doesn't seem to want to, you know, be like Amity in the sense of like, oh, I have to like keep up my appearance and I have to do, you know, X, Y, and Z to earn people's respects, which I like. But again, he's had the least amount of development and writing for his character. So like, he has a lot of potential, but we just haven't gotten there yet. So I'm hoping in season 2 we get to see a little bit more of Gus and, you know, what he's about, like his parents and everything like that. You know, we saw his dad very, very briefly, but yeah, like I said, he has a lot of potential. We just haven't seen it quite yet, so hopefully in season 2 we get there. Hooty, okay, Hooty. Where does our boy Hooty go? You know what, Hooty, you get in the S tier, because Hooty is just, I mean, there are so many questions what Hooty is, how he came into existence, how he met Ida, all of that stuff. You know, just what is Hooty? Like, I feel like there's a million different things that Hooty is. Like, Hooty is the Owl House, but he's also a demon, but he's also like the door decoration to the house. Like, he's just so many things. But honestly, Hooty, it's like he takes so much just shit from everybody, but he always just does it with like a smile on his face, and he's always just so happy to be included, and he's just the purest boy, and just I want him to be loved and appreciated. But then there's also just the fact, like I was saying, like he's just like, what is Hooty? How powerful is Hooty? And his whole backstory. So you know what, Hooty, you get in the S tier because you are a sweet, pure boy who just wants everybody to be happy, and you just want to be included. But also, like, your backstory might reveal that, you know, you could like kill everybody. So that's very intriguing to me. So you get the S tier, Hooty. All right, Jerbo's gonna go like with Barcus in the B tier. Like, you know, he just wants to do his plant abomination magic. You know, he just wants to learn and enjoy himself at school. I think out of all the designs, Jerbo's was probably the one that I found the least interesting, because I think it was just the most generic out of the group. But, you know, I still like Jerbo. I think he's a nice guy. Just, you know, like I said, just wants to do what he wants to do in school, wants to learn what he wants to learn. So yeah, I'll put him in the B tier. Kikimora. We don't know that much about her, so we'll put her in the C tier for now. You know, she's the assistant to Belos. She's kind of like the right hand, you know, woman to Belos. Like, I don't know if it was like an intentional design choice to actually have like the hand that's like above her head is actually the right hand, and then the left hand's facing backwards. I don't know if that was like intentional, like, oh, she's the right hand, you know, woman, and she literally has a right hand on her head. We don't know that much about her. And maybe she has a more important role, but I think her main goal and priority is to assist Belos. That's the biggest thing. But yeah, I think she has an interesting design. I'd like if there was maybe more to her than what we've gotten so far. Like maybe she has some like crazy backstory with Belos and how they met and they like rose to power together or something like that. I don't know. Good design. I think she's you know, good for her for sticking with Belos if that's like what she wants to do and, you know, help him achieve whatever his goals are. Because, man, if you're serving a guy like Belos, you got to be dedicated, and she appears to be that. So, King, I'll put King in the S tier. King's a cutie. King's a little sweetie pie. He tries to act out like kind of similar to Amity in the sense of like, tries to be really tough, but is actually just like a big, huge softie, like kind of like, you know, the jerk with a heart of gold kind of a thing. But King has a lot of potential in his character of like, is he really the king of demons? Like, what's with the collar? You know, did he have like an owner before? And, you know, there's like the popular theory of like, is King connected to the Titan at all? So yeah, so there's a lot going for King in terms of his character and his whole backstory and everything like that. But he's also just, he's a cutie. He's a little sweetheart. He like loves Luce. He tries to pretend that he doesn't, but he actually loves her and wants to be her friend and doesn't want her to go. He's gonna be sad when when Luce leaves and everything like that. So yeah, no. King is great. I love him, and I'm really excited to see what we learn about him in season 2. All right, here's where I feel that the comments are gonna start rolling in. Lilith is an S tier, okay? Let me before everyone starts getting your little typey fingers ready and just being like, Lilith's terrible, Lilith's awful. Okay. Lilith made some bad decisions. If you have seen my Youngblood, Old Souls, Agony of a Witch, you know, reaction reviews, she made some bad decisions, but I don't think Lilith is a bad person. Lilith also has this tendency, which I find so interesting and fascinating, is that she always bends or twists the rules in her favor. Even though she's a part of the Emperor's Covenant and they're supposed to be all about, you know, upholding law and order and following the rules and everything like that. But she always like bends and twists the rules. In Convention, she cheated because she knew Ida was going to cheat, so she justified her decision with that. In Once Upon a Swap, when they capture, you know, Luce, who's in Ida's body, Ida's supposed to be sent to the Conformatorium, but she like burdens up the order. She's like, no, like I'm gonna, you know, handle this. I'm gonna take this now. And she's like taking control and, you know, manipulating the situation to benefit her in, you know, sense and insensitivity. She's supposed to be capturing Ida, and she's like, no, we're gonna find this bloom of eternal youth instead. And when she should have captured Ida, you know, even though it was, you know, for a good reason, she's like, no, I want you to join on your own. I'm not gonna capture you yet. So yeah, just like instances like that of where she's always like twisting the rules. And I mean, there's the obvious, like she cursed Ida to win to get a spot in the Emperor's Coven. Yeah, just always like twisting and cheating the rules despite her being an authority, and her, you know, her goal was to get into, you know, the Emperor's Coven, which is supposed to uphold law and order, and she's constantly just breaking the laws and the order, essentially, which is fascinating as her as a character. She's a character full of kind of like contradictions and stuff like that, which makes her very interesting. You know, like I was saying, she made bad decisions, like cursing Ida, very bad decision. Taking Luce and like kind of using her as like a human, not even kind of, like used her as a human shield essentially to get to Ida. Just, you know, not good decisions. But once that trust between her and Belos is broken, she's like, oh man, like I messed up, like I gotta fix this. And even though she was doing, you know, bad things and, you know, following the Emperor's will and the Emperor's Coven, it was always to fix the mistake she made. It was always to help heal Ida, and she genuinely thought she was doing the right thing to help Ida. You know, again, didn't go about it the best way, but you know, that's not everyone makes the best decisions. But for Lilith, they were always justified in her eyes because of the end result. But once, you know, that trust between her and Belos is betrayed, she's like, okay, like this is wrong. She wanted to stay as like essentially an undercover agent to undermine Belos, to make sure nothing like this ever happened again. Like she saw the error of her ways, and I think she's gonna still work towards that in season 2. Some people are like, oh, she was redeemed too quickly, and I think the words redeemed and like taking accountability are like interchanged so often. Like, Lilith has taken accountability for her action. She's acknowledged what she's done, and she's gonna work to, you know, fix her mistakes and work to gain trust. I don't think she's necessarily like been completely redeemed, because we'll see the dynamic in season 2 between Ida, Luce, and Lilith. But she's taken the right step in that direction for season 2, which is why Lilith is an S tier, because she has a lot of potential going forward, in addition to just, you know, everything I just talked about for her for season 1. So yeah, so I know there's people who are like, cancel Lilith's trash, and I'm just like, no, there's more to her. She's a complicated, complex character. And I don't think just because like you've made bad decisions doesn't mean that like, oh no, you're canceled, you're trash, you're an F tier, you're a D tier, whatever. There's more to her than just, you know, the decision she's made. So yeah, so Lilith, S tier. Again, probably gonna get some hate. There's some other characters on here that I'm probably gonna get a lot of hate for as well. But one character that I know I'm not gonna get hate for is Luce, S tier. Luce is great. I love Luce a lot. Lilith and Luce, I'm actually working on 2 videos that are character essays. Man, is Luce taking a long time because she is a main character and she's in every episode, so there's a lot to look at. But I'm usually someone who doesn't, you know, not necessarily doesn't like main characters, but I usually don't connect with them that much. And Luce is kind of like the first main character where like I genuinely like her and relate to her as a character. I see a lot of myself, my younger self, in Luce, and sure, yeah, current self too. I mean, I have a YouTube channel where I talk about cartoons and stuff like that and obsess over them, something that Luce might do. So yeah, no, like, Luce is great. Like, how can you not like Luce? She's just like a ball of sunshine and just a goofball, but she has her insecurities about, you know, wanting to fit in and wanting to make other people happy and proud of her. She has a lot going on. She's a very, you know, maybe not necessarily like making the same decisions and, you know, as Lilith in terms of that kind of complicated and complex, but she's also a complex character as well. But I love Luce a lot. So yeah, so Luce is an S tier. Good job, Dana and crew, for getting me to like a main character, because that is really hard, because I do not usually gravitate towards main characters that often. All right, Mattholomule. Mattholomule is going to be an S. He's a jerk. Like, I mean, I know I said, like, Boscha's a jerk, so I give her an A because I just like how she sticks to her guns for being a jerk. I don't know, but there's, like, a sense of, like, I don't know, as a viewer, you get a sense of kind of, like, humor from Boscha in what she does, but, like, Mattholomule is just, like, a jerk, and he just wants drama and power and everything like that. So, you know what? C tier, he's not as charming as Boscha, I guess, and, like, at least Boscha's, like, good at stuff. Like, Boscha's, you know, captain of the Grudge Bee team. I'm assuming she gets good grades because she's kind of like with Amity and that kind of like, oh, we're popular, good students kind of posse. So yeah, but Mattholomule, he's just a little jerk who goes to detention and likes causing trouble and, you know, messing with other people. So C tier, we'll put Mattholomule in the C tier for not, because we just haven't gotten as much of him as we have gotten Boscha. All right, I don't even think this guy has a name, but I'm gonna put him in the D tier because, like, similar to Adaghast, he like had a plan, like, oh, I'm gonna take out Ida and Lilith and take their souls or whatever. I don't know, whatever plan he had. But my God, was this like the worst plan ever? Like, he had to know who Lilith was. He had to know who Ida was. Like, you thought you were gonna single-handedly take on 2 of the most powerful witches on the Boiling Isles, and like you led them there to you to kill them. Like, I don't know what this man thought his plan was. I don't know how competent he thought he was as a magic user, but he miscalculated big time. So, you know, he gets a D for just poor planning all around. Just bad planning. Next time, have a little bit more thought there, buddy. Alright, here we go. There are two characters who I feel I'm gonna get hate for. Alador and Odalia are A tiers for me. And again, similar to Lilith, let me explain. I don't think that they're good parents. I think me saying that I like them or I'm interested in them as characters doesn't mean that I think that they're like good or that they've done no wrong. Yeah, as parents, they seem like they suck. The way they treat Amity, or the way it's been hinted at the way they treat Amity, yeah, not good. Not great parenting at all. But Dana has said that there's more to them than we've been, led to believe, than that we think. And she has specified that she's enjoyed writing for Alador because she finds him to be an interesting character. So there's more to them than just what we've seen, obviously. The thing about characters like Alador, Odalia, even like Lilith, you have to look at where they're coming from. What motivates them? What are their goals? Why are they taking the actions that they are taking? You have to look at that, and it can be very interesting to see how these characters, are put in situations and the decisions and choices that they make in order to reach and achieve their goals. And I think Alador and Odalia are going to be examples of that. It's similar to Lilith with some of the decisions she made that aren't always the best, but makes for very interesting character development and character arcs. Because there's also just a lot that they already have going for them, just their relationship with their kids, Amity specifically, and how they don't treat her well. And we don't really know the situation with Edric and Emira, but we'll learn more about that in season 2. There's also the question of do they work for the Emperor's Coven? How close are they? Is that why they're trying to get Amity into the Emperor's Coven because they're not in the Emperor's Coven, or are they working with the Emperor's Coven currently? And that's why they want to get, Amity in there, is because they are working with the Emperor's Coven currently. There's also the question of Luce. How are they going to react to Luce? Are they going to be no, we don't want anything to do with this human? Or are they going to see it as an advantageous opportunity and try and use Luce to get closer to Belos, kind of get close to Luce and then turn her into Belos to, get props with him and, raise their own social standing and stuff like that. They have a lot going for them, and it makes them very intriguing characters, and just also how they've been set up, because it's never, until understanding Willow, it was never really outright said that they were terrible parents to Amity, but we were left with little hints and clues for that, and then understanding Willow, we kind of got that confirmation. It was yeah, no, they're not the best parents. And then there's the AMA with Dana, where she said that, Odalia makes Amity dye her hair green to match, hers and her siblings. So yeah, not great. And then after that, we got, the flashback where we see their presumed, younger selves in the flashback in Young Blood Old Souls with the Lilith and Ida, duel. So it's the way they've been set up has been just so great, because we got this little slow buildup of just okay, this is what we think they're gonna be like. We get the confirmation and understanding Willow, and then we get to see their presumed, younger selves, and it's just it's nice payoff. It's they could have just come out with all this in season 1, but I like that they're taking their time for season 2 in introducing Alador and Odalia, because I think they're gonna be awesome. I'm super excited to meet them, which is why they rank so highly. They're not S tier yet because we haven't, obviously we haven't seen any of them outside of their silhouettes and just the little pieces that we've gotten of them. Man, I am so excited for them and just to see what they're all about, because I think they have a ton of potential. All right, next up we got Owlbert. Owlbert's gonna be an S tier because he's just similar to Braxus, very cute, just sweet boy. Just wants to, protect Ida and Luce and King and his family, and just wants to do the best he can. He's a sweet little boy, and I love Owlbert. I think he's great. I'd be curious to know, we have the Bat Queen, and we have Owlbert, and we have seen, the discarded palisman in the forest, but it's I want to know about other palisman, and just I want to see Lilith's palisman. What does Lilith's palisman look like? I think that'd be really cool. But yeah, Owlbert's pretty great. I love him a lot. He's a little sweetheart. All right, Perry Porter. We saw him once at the very end. C tier. He's maybe B tier. I don't. Can I really put Gus and his dad on B tier together if we've only seen Gus's dad once and we've seen Gus in a couple episodes? Yeah, I have to put him in B tier. I can't put him with these people. Perry's he's a nice guy. He seems like a caring dad. He seems very sweet, very nice. He's a news anchor, so that's cool. But yeah, like, he seems like a caring parent. I mean, that makes sense. I put Camila here, and we haven't seen a lot of Camila either, so I'll put him in the B tiers for now. But if we get to see more of him, maybe he'll go up. Piniet. Put you in a C tier. You're a jerk, but like, you're a businessman, so you know what? Like, good for you, and capitalizing on, the creative hustle of just constantly needing to put work out there. See, unlike this guy, whoever Bloom of Eternal Youth guy here is, you actually had like a plan, and you have like a good grasp and idea of like what you need to do to achieve that. And, it's just basically taking raiders captive and then turning them into little block QB thingies when, they've expended their uses. So, good for you for just being a heartless jerk and, using capitalism to your advantage. Roselle, oh god, I just gotta put her with Dottie. Just the same thing, like kidnapping children, keeping little cute demon creatures hostage for your cat demon cafe, whatever, just C tier. Skara's got a good, I'll put her in A tier. Put her in A tier with Boscha. She's nicer than Boscha. I think, again, similar to like Amelia, I think Skara's a bit more of like an Amity, where it's like they're jerks, but it's because of circumstance. And I feel that there's a lot more to her than we're led to believe. Not necessarily that they're like, we're gonna get to see that or anything like that, but I think it's like probably she's in a very similar position to Amity and Boscha. Like, their parents are kind of like forcing them to be friends just because it's advantageous for them. But I think she's a little bit more like Boscha in the sense of just like, well, things are nice now, so I'm just not gonna, break status quo or anything like that. But like, even in the grudge fight with Willow, like, Skara's not that bad of a person. Like, she'll laugh and won't step in when like there's bullying or anything like that, which is kind of similar to Amity. But I don't think Skara's necessarily like a bad person. And like, man, her design is awesome. Again, a lot of the character designs on the show are absolutely fantastic. But yeah, I'll put Skara in the A tier along with Boscha, because I like her a lot. I think she's a lot nicer than I think we're kind of led to believe in the show. Slitherbeast, C. Slitherbeast is an animal beast thing. It goes on instincts. It got hit with a fireball. These weird people are in its territory. It just did what any monster or demon would do, which would be attack whatever, just hit it with a fireball in its territory. So C tier, it did what instincts in nature told it to do. Snaggleback, I'll put Snaggleback in a B. Man, we're gonna have so many B tiers here. Snaggleback's cute. Snaggleback's just a pink monkey with a blue spiky turtle shell. He's cute. I do feel bad that he's kind of just similar to Hooty, just kind of like put in these really awful circumstances, but he always just tries to, make the best out of the situation. But he's kind of more of like a background character as opposed to Hooty, who might just, like I said before, might have the power to just like destroy and kill everybody. So yeah, we'll put Snaggleback at a B. Greater Basilisk, I'm gonna put you at a D because you attacked Amity, so I don't like you. And I put Alador and Odalia at A tiers. But no, you attacked Amity, so you know what? I said it in my reaction video. We're gonna have some problems now, so we do. We have some problems. So you are in the D tier, Greater Basilisk. All right, Tibbles. I put Tibbles at a C tier. Like, Tibbles is just kind of like, again, very similar to like Piniet, just like, just cashing in on that capitalism. So like, good for you, and working the system like that and just kind of being a jerk. He didn't really need to go after them at the carnival, but he was just so dedicated to just getting back at them and getting his revenge that he's like, I'm gonna open an entire carnival for you guys to trick you, to feed you to miniature creatures. So you know what, good for him with his planning and everything like that. However, he got duped twice by them. So we'll see if he comes back. I would like to see Tibbles come back actually for a third time to see what his plan would be to try and get, King, Ida, and Luce and Gus and Willow and those guys again. Because I think it'd be really funny if he just keeps popping up, kind of like Team Rocket in a way, just keeps failing, but they're just so dedicated in trying to, achieve his goal of beating them at something. So, but we'll put him at a C tier. Tiny Nose. We'll put Tiny Nose at a B tier right now. It's kind of like one of those background characters where it's just every time I see Tiny Nose, I just smile a little bit. I'm just oh hey, you're still kicking it, even though sometimes I feel just awful things happen to her. She's also Dana Terrace's self-insert character, so that's really fun. So yeah, I'll put her at a B tier. Glad to know that she's still kicking after all the horrible things that have happened to her throughout the series. So yeah. The Usurper. We're gonna put you at a C tier just because, honestly, just wipe your nose, get a tissue, just no thank you. No thank you. Just wipe that off, just right there. Yeah, no, I don't really have anything else to add. Just wipe your nose, kid. Alright, final 3. Again, this is where I probably should have added some pluses and minuses, but I feel if I did that, it honestly would have been harder for me. Viney would be a B+, because again, we've only seen her for one episode. Her character design is great. I really loved her voice actress for this episode. I thought she did a great job. I like that she's a beast-keeping healer magic user. I think that's really cool, especially since we don't see a lot of beast-keeping characters in this show. I think it's so cool that she just has a griffin, Puddles, to be her little assistant for her healing and stuff. I just think that's really cute, and I think it's a fun concept. I think out of the trio, I think Viney was kind of the standout character, just not only in terms of design but just actual personality. I think she's really fun and nice, and kind of in a similar position to Luce. Doesn't necessarily feel like she fits in so unlike it seems that Luce kind of betrayed them from, what she said, that she didn't belong in the detention trick and that she was better than them. It really hurt her in a way I think Luce would feel very similarly to just how she was treated in the human realm. So I like that a lot about Viney. But she'll protect and stick up for Jerbo and Barcus too. They're her buddies. Very similar to Luce and sticking up for, Willow and Gus. Yeah, but I like Viney a lot. She's really sweet. I really hope we see these trio of troublemakers again in the future. Warden Wrath. We saw you in the first episode and at the end, in the very last one, but I don't know where to put you because I don't know if you're gonna come back again. I'll put B for the potential of showing up again, because we saw him show up obviously in the very first episode when they broke into the Conformatorium, but then, we saw him show up at Youngblood Old Souls, and he wants revenge on Luce, which I think is really cool. Not even Ida, just Luce, which I think is really funny. And I feel his design's too good, I feel, just to keep it in for essentially 2 episodes of season 1. You gotta keep using that thing more, because man, that's a great design. So I hope we see more of him, especially if Ida, Luce, King, Lilith, Hooty, just everybody is going to be kind of tangling a bit more with the Emperor. I really hope that we see Warden Wrath, stepping up a little bit more. Character design's great. I like that he has a little rivalry now with Luce. So I hope we can kind of see that a bit more. So in terms of potential and seeing him more, and him kind of being more of a right-hand man kind of, or I guess left-hand man, since Kikimora has already gotten that taken care of, have a left-hand man to Belos. I'd like to see that with Warden Wrath. And lastly, Willow. Alright, so we got Willow. I'm gonna put Willow in the A tier. I don't feel she's quite S tier yet. She's getting there. She's really close. And I feel with Amity and Willow, I feel if they kind of develop their friendship a bit more, they've kind of patched things over and they're on speaking terms. But I feel if they actually kind of, take another step and start hanging out, kind of start talking about, what it was like for them to, have that time where they were friends, and then, after what Amity did because of her parents, to talk about that and kind of the repercussions of that, and then, mending that and actually, being friends and being on more amiable terms and everything like that, I think would be really, really nice. Plus, like, Willow, like, we still have, like, her glowy eye thing. Like, I know we saw it a couple times throughout season 1 in episode 3 and episode 14, but, like, it hasn't been really talked about, or nothing's really come of it since, which I hope they elaborate on it. Like, is there something special with Willow, or is she just that good at using plant magic that she can just, like, go crazy green eyes and just do crazy things with plant magic? I'd like to see more of that. But I think Willow is also just a very, like, sweet character, but she's got a little bit of a, like, bite to her. Like, I've talked about it before, like, she can be petty and she can want to show off to people to, like, prove that, she's worth it. But yeah, I feel that Willow has a lot going for her because she's not like the, like the typical, like, oh, shy, pushover, quiet, nice girl. Like, she has some bite to her. She can stand up for herself when she needs to. She knows how to protect her friends. It's just, you gotta put the people she cares about around her to do that. And Luce, Gus, and Willow are all in a very similar situation, is that they haven't had friends like this before. And now that they do, they're making each other better and bringing out the best in each other, which I think is really great for all of them. So I'm glad that they have their little trio of friends now. It's really sweet. And I think Willow has definitely benefited a lot from that. I mean, Gus has obviously benefited from that, but I think Luce and Willow especially have really brought out the best in each other. And Willow has gotten a lot of confidence, and patching things over with Amity has given her a lot of confidence, and I hope we continue to see that in season 2. And I'd be really interested to see, like, what Boscha and Willow's dynamic is, of, like, Boscha just lays off of Willow entirely after the Grudgeby match and everything like that, and now that Amity is hanging out with them more now. Very curious to see, because I think Willow has now gotten even a bit more confidence in terms of Boscha and their whole dynamic and everything like that. So yeah, but that is my list. Looking at it, it's kind of weird. Like, there's a lot of B tier, but I think, like, a lot of the B tiers are, like, characters that we didn't see a lot, or there's just, like, a lot of potential for them going forward in this series. But yeah, so those are my picks for, I guess, like, what my favorite characters are. Again, it's, if you have different opinions, totally cool. Everyone's totally entitled to their own opinion. But this is kind of just how I rank mine in terms of just, like, how they're written and how they've developed and the potential going forward in the series and how their role in the story can affect other characters and stuff like that. So that's kind of what I base my opinions off of and everything like that. Again, I mean, Lilith, Alador and Odalia, I feel like we get a lot of hate for, but we'll see in the comments what that's like. Please don't, like, cancel me or anything like that. It's just an opinion. I just think they're very intriguing, complicated characters, okay? I'm not condoning their actions or saying that they were right. Just, please don't. I can almost hear the typing now, right from where I'm sitting, from where I'm recording this, of just everyone being like, I can't believe it. Yep, character tier list. Owl House, Season 1. I'm sure this will change with Season 2. We're going to be getting new characters with Season 2, and I'm sure some of these characters will shift around and move a bit after Season 2. So when Season 2 comes out and is over and all said and done, I'll probably do another one of these. But at the end of Season 1, here we are. So we'll probably compare this later on down the road. With that, thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys have a fantastic day, and until next time, guys, take care.